Joining us right now, former House Speaker and Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Newt, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's good to be with you.
So your take on what's happening here, Newt. I mean, you've been a supporter of Donald Trump, but this war of words, the president getting involved, how do you see it?
Well, I mean, there are two different issues. One is Trump, and the other is Obama.
Right.
Obama's a partisan, hard-left Democrat, saying what he ought to say as a partisan. Some of it is an absurdity. This is the guy, remember, who promised you could keep your doctor. He promised you could keep your insurance. He either was totally ignorant of his own program or he just plain lied. He's been wrong on Syria, Iraq, Libya, go down the list. He lost Crimea and then wants to whine about Putin. So, I mean, Obama's not exactly the role model here for a solid, stable person who's achieved a lot. And we have, by the way, 3,400 people killed in Chicago since their hometown president was sworn in, and he's done nothing. So I think you could get in a nice fight with Obama. Trump has a different challenge. Trump is still behaving like as though it was the primaries and there were 17 candidates. He has not made the transition to being the potential president of the United States, which is a much tougher league. People are going to watch you every single day. They're going to take everything they can out of context. And he's not yet performing at the level that you need to. I'm frankly reminded, Joe Montana went through a stretch during his career when he kept throwing interceptions. And for about half a season, it looked like he wasn't Joe Montana anymore. And then he figured out what he was doing and he changed. Trump is in that kind of a slump. He's done a series. It's like watching a team go out in the field, throw an interception on the first play, and go back off the field again. And he's thrown a series of interceptions in the last week that really do not bode well for his campaign.
So can he do it? Can he? What do we have? 98 days until the election.
Well,
can
look,
he do it, Newt?
He has two huge advantages. One is the country really wants change, and the other is Hillary Clinton is the most corrupt and dishonest candidate we've ever had for president. So there's always going to be a residual possibility that Trump can win. The question is, can he, in August, slow down, take a deep breath, and reorganize how he's operating so that he gets to the standard of a potential president of the United States? He has not done that up to now. It's been significantly to his disadvantage. And let me just say flatly, I am totally for John McCain, who is a great war hero and a terrific human being who has worked very hard for veterans. And I'm totally for Paul Ryan, who is the heart of the House Republican Party and probably the most problem-solving leader we've had in the Congress on the Republican side in the last 20 years. So I think some of what Trump has done is just very self-destructive.
Newt, it's Dagan McDowell. When conservatives look at this, it's not like an interception. It's like a fumble because he's yelling at some fan in the stands who's insulted him. And that's what people worry about them fixing that, whether that's a fixable problem.
You're describing sort of playing in Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Look, I think that's, I don't know if it's a fixable problem, but I think it's a very big moment for Trump. He has got to find a way to slow down, really learn some new lessons. I mean, this is a little bit like The Apprentice, except he's the apprentice. He's not the boss. He doesn't get to say you're fired. The American people get to say you're fired. So he's really got to take a deep breath. I think he has the potential to win the election. I think he has the potential to be a historic president. But to do that, he has got to grow into the size of the job and not get stuck where he has been, which, frankly, over the last week, I think has been very disheartening to most of his supporters.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Gingrich, thank you so much for what you said about John McCain. I know that many of my friends in the military and in the reserves and veterans were just quite frankly frustrated over some of the statements against the Khan family, statements yesterday about John McCain. So I appreciate you saying that, and I think a lot of us who are in the military appreciate your support. Trump said that John McCain has not been good for veterans. Can you, I know he listens to you, I know you're a friend, and Dagan and I were talking about this earlier, if you can get him to focus on not attacking his fellow Republicans, but on going after Hillary Clinton, the person who he's competing against. I agree with you that I think he has a great shot in the election. I mean, her negative ratings are some of the highest that we've ever seen. His are up there as well. I'm hoping that you have some influence on him, so this is my begging you to do so.
Well, what's truly frustrating here is you have a very talented businessman who might actually become a historic figure, but He has to keep, every morning he has to get awake and say, the only two people I'm fighting with are Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, and you have to take on Obama because Hillary would be the third term. So you've got to win the argument about whether or not this has been good. But other than those two people, every time he talks about anyone else, it is an unforced fumble, if you like, or interception, as I would have said, but it's clearly a mistake. And until he can discipline himself to be very direct, very controlled, which frankly is what you want in a president.
Right.
You want to, because the presidency has so much power. He has enormous potential. I would say that in the last couple of weeks he has been remarkably underperforming. And we'll see whether or not he can take a deep breath and learn these lessons.
Yeah, we will see, and given we've got 98 days. So this new outrage this morning over the Obama administration's dealings with Iran. Front cover story, Wall Street Journal, reporting that the administration paid Iran $400 million in cold cash in foreign currencies to secure the January release of 4 Americans who were held in Tehran. GOP vice presidential nominee Mike Pence slammed the reported deal at an event in Phoenix last night. Listen to this. I want to get your reaction.
We cannot have 4 more years accommodating and apologizing to our enemies or abandoning our friends. America needs to be strong for the world to be safe, and Donald Trump will lead on the world stage from strength.
What about this Iran deal?
Look, this is a good example of why Trump needs to just slow down and focus. Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell should announce today that they are assigning investigating committees to look into this. Every evidence we have is that the Iranians said, oh, you're going to pay us eventually. Why don't you pay us now so it'll look like you're bribing us? And the State Department, which frankly needs dramatic overhaul, not just because of Obama, but it needed overhaul in the Bush administration, the State Department sort of said, oh, yeah, why don't we pretend we're bribing you? Now, this was money that technically they were going to be paid because of an agreement that was made legally over money we had frozen way back in 1979. But the absurdity of allowing it to appear to be payment for hostages, particularly when the hostages are U.S. Navy who were illegally taken. This administration has no limits to its willingness to appease its enemies and hurt its friends. It has no limits to its willingness to undermine American policy and power. But this is another example, and it's a perfect example of what Trump ought to focus on.
Right.
I mean, he's been given here a huge watermelon.
He did tweet out,
right.
Newt. He said, our incompetent Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, was the one who started talks to give $400 million in cash to Iran. Scandal. I mean, these are the kinds of things that outrage people that he should be focused on.
I have only one piece of advice from him on that front, and that is to move to Facebook Live. It is vastly more powerful to see Donald Trump personally on video saying what he just tweeted, and it deserves real attention. This is the number of scandals built into this administration are beyond our ability on a television show to list. It is astonishing, and Hillary's at the heart of it. She is literally the most corrupt person ever to run for president, which is why Trump will always be in contention, because she's so bad.
Mr. Speaker, good to have you on the program. Thanks so much.